Welcome to the Make Homes Possible Homebuyer Success Stories and Case Studies. Once again, welcome. This is the Make Home Possible Coalition Success Story and Case Studies, a part of our masterclass series. I am excited to get going with you guys, and I am going to tell you that our unofficial theme of today's class is going to be just keep going. So we're going to share with you some success stories, some trials and error, and some case studies to let you know that you are not alone and you are not a unique case in this home buyer struggle. So let's get started. Our mission at Make Homes Possible is to help 25,000 Black families buy a home in Las Vegas to help close the Black homeownership gap. So over the next 10 years and beyond, we will be striving to make sure that African American home buyers are aware of the home buying opportunities available to them, we are able to do outreach to make sure that home buyers have the information and the tools they need. We have caseworkers and counselors, financial literacy counselors to help you along the way every step of your journey, whether it's a 30-day journey, quick close, or a 10-year journey. We are here to help you, as well as lenders, realtors, and a host of other real estate professionals that are committed to our goal. My name is Jania Gurma. I am going to be your MC for the day. I am representing the Nevada Housing Division in addition to Make Homes Possible. I served with the Nevada Housing Division as a home buyer program specialist, a loan officer for years. I have a background in lending, commercial and residential real estate lending. And now at the Housing Division, I am actually the affordable housing advocate to advocate throughout the state of Nevada to make sure that all Nevada families living and working here are able to have a safe roof over their heads. So today's agenda, let's get into it. We're starting right now on time. Yay. I am going to, after the welcome, we're going to start with some success stories, but I'm also going to give you a little bit of background about our market, specifically here in Las Vegas, the market. And then we're going to have some success stories from Shanta, Patton, who I will introduce shortly. And then we'll also go over a home buyer checklist, because we always want you to end with tools and things, tangible things that you can use to help you on your home ownership journey. And then we'll open it up for some questions and answers. So just a little bit of get this out of the way. We are a equal housing opportunity. Homie, which is one of our major sponsors, uses fair housing practices. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me or any of the participants of the Make Homes Possible Coalition. So your counselors today, as I mentioned, I am Jania Gurma. I am with the Nevada Housing Division, and I am on the Council for Make Homes Possible Coalition. And then we also have Shanta Patton, who is a NID housing counselor. Shanta actually wears many hats and has many roles. I'll let her tell you a little bit more about them. And then we also have Kathy Freeman from Neighborhood Housing Services of Southern Nevada. Special thanks to all of our partners, Homey, Urban Chamber of Commerce. We also have City of Las Vegas, Nevada Housing Division, NARAP, Nevada Partners, Nevada Neighborhood Housing of Southern Nevada, NACA, NID, and AmeriFirst as partners in this coalition and this fight. 2021 Market Snapshot. The market is softening in the favor of buyers. What does that mean? So if we take a quick look at this graph, you see that the original prices versus the sales price is what we mean by market softening. So I know that we've heard a lot about the housing industry and the crisis and things that are going on and how our market has skyrocketed. And while that may be true, there's always this little bit of a silver lining. So one thing we want to highlight for you is that though people are listing homes on the market currently at a higher price than we've normally seen, those homes are being the price is being coming down slightly from the original listing price to the price that they finally sell at. Whereas maybe 4 or 5 months ago, we would have seen a house went on the market, it stayed for maybe 4 or 5 days. There was bidding wars and people were paying over market price. Right now we're seeing that people are listing homes, and then sometimes after a while of being on the market, though we still have a shortening of inventory, those prices are coming down. Another thing we want you to look at is that sales volume is down for the first time this whole year. So our inventory is much lower than what we would like here in Nevada. It is still very much a seller's market, and we have about 6 weeks or less of inventory. However, the volume of sales and how quickly sales were going has decreased for the first time in this whole year 2021. So whereas last month we had 3,200 home sales, this month we've had 3,000. So a significant, small but significant drop. The market home prices do continue to appreciate though since last year. The reason we want to mention this to you is because some people have had the idea that there is a crash coming. Things are going to go back to 2008. That is not the case. Though there is a softening of a market, that's great news for you if you're interested in home buying, because there's a way to get in and there's a foot in the door. But it is always a good time to purchase a home and begin building equity. Don't be scared of the market and the sales prices increasing and thinking, oh, once I get into my home, that's not going to happen, or there's something that's going to happen that is going to make that bubble burst. The prices will continue to appreciate here in Nevada. So we're also going to pepper in some fun facts for you each throughout this masterclass. So median home prices have more than doubled since 2000. What does that mean? That means if someone bought a house for $200,000 in the year 2000, here in 2020, that house at minimum is worth twice what they purchased it for. So when you take that in consideration of them making on-time payments every month for the last 20 years, plus the appreciation in the market, that is what we call wealth. That is building wealth and having that equity to be able to make choices. Wealth and equity gives you options in a world when you don't have when you're just paying rent. So the next up on the agenda, I am going to pass it over to the lovely Shanta Patton. She is going to share some first-time homebuyer real estate, some first-time homebuyer stories, success stories, and case studies with you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Shanta Patton. As Nia says, I do hold a lot of hats. A couple of those are I am a housing counselor. So if you have gone through the masterclass or considering going through the masterclass, there is a great possibility that you will be counseled by myself. In addition to that, I am a 17-year veteran of the real estate market here in Las Vegas, among some other things. So today I have the great privilege of talking to you about some of the success stories. As you know, we'll be coming up on our year anniversary of all of us coming together into this coalition to put 25,000 Black families into homes. So as we move forward, I want you to meet Rose. So Rose was an immigrant from Ghana. She lived in New York for a few years with her husband and her kids, and then she finally moved here. She was a long-term renter. I know quite a few of you guys there are also long-term renters. Hey, so one day after renting, taking care of her home for many, many years, the landlord called and guess what? He wanted to sell the property and she had 6 months to move. And so for a lot of you, 6 months is actually a long time compared to some of you who might get 30-day notices or 60-day notices. And imagine the situation that you might be in because you don't have the benefit of owning your own home. So she made sure that she would no longer have that fear anymore. So she decided she was no longer going to be someone else's tenant. She was going to be her own landlord. So she was working at the Luxor. She was eligible under the culinary program to be able to qualify for down payment assistance and purchase a home, right? So 2020, last year, she made sure she got into the Homebuyers workshop. She met with a housing counselor. She went with a lender who was very versed in down payment assistance and first-time homebuyer programs. She started looking for a condo, and she closed on a condo for $165,000. I don't personally know Rose, but I guarantee you Rose probably has at least $50,000 or $60,000 in equity since October of 2022. She is a homeowner, and you can be as well. So, did you know that over 3 million Black Americans are already mortgage ready? And another fun fact, did you know that 1.7 million Black millennials specifically are also mortgage ready? They just don't know how to get there. So meet Mulunesh. She took the first step after attending a home buyers workshop in April of 2019. She saved, she worked on her credit, she started the loan process about 6 or 7 months after that. So after she was able to do that, she was working with the wrong lender though. She got discouraged. A lot of you will hit roadblocks, you get discouraged, you put it off. But she decided to do it again, get another chance because she knew homeownership was so important to her. So just a month or so later, she was able in December to close on a home. She became a homeowner in 2020, and she didn't have to worry about many of the things that some of you are worrying about right now because you're not a homeowner. So let's talk about how this breaks down. Let's look at the home versus the money. So maybe your perfect home is 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It's a large, spacious floor plan located in Sunset Pass community. It's cheaper than renting. It's $295,000, 0.175% interest rate, $950 mortgage, because she was able to combine all the programs. $950 mortgage. If you are in this rental market right now, you know it's almost impossible to find something to rent for $950. So her advice to all of you is be patient throughout the process. And once you finally get that home, don't stop saving. That's really great advice from her as well. Never stop saving. You never know when the worst case scenario will come down. So another fun fact, did you know that it may take as many as 12 to 18 months to go from a 500 credit score to a 670, right? 500 is 670. That's only a year away. So for those of you who think I'm nowhere near getting a home, imagine 12 to 18 months is no time. You could be in a home and have a 670 credit score. So meet Kristopher. So Kristopher, the entire process took almost 3 years because remember, we said not everybody is ready right now, but we will still walk you through this process. Even if it takes you 10 years to get there, we're still here. So Kristopher rented for over 10 years. Can you imagine how much equity he gave his landlord? In early 2017, he heard about the down payment assistance program and that it could help him become a homeowner. So from 2017 is when he first heard about the program. Then in 2018, he started getting it together, saving, building up his credit. By 2019, he took the class, he met with the counselor. By 2022, though, he got laid off due to pandemic and he faced some setbacks, very similar to quite a few of you guys out there, right? So, but he didn't stop. So after he got laid off, he was watching his budget, making sure his credit stayed in line, right? He was able to get re-employed. And then December 2020, he was able to get approved and bought a house. So even though he rented for 10 years and it took him, 5 years to get there though, but he still got there. And so no matter how long it takes you, as long as you're on that path, you're still on your way to being a homeowner. And he says the hardest part is keeping up with all the documents. Yes, it is. But do not settle for just anything. Make sure it is the one for you. So let's look at the home versus the money, right? So starter home, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 864 square feet, had upgraded appliances. He was able to move his mom in with him. He got $14,000 of down payment assistance, and he purchased the home for $210,000. So the average renter takes more than 10 years of savings and planning to buy a house. Right? It's not easy to save, but that's why these programs come into place. It doesn't take you 10 years on average. So we have the great pleasure of being able to welcome Kristopher's mom, Kim Leonard, to the stage so that she can tell you about the process and just where they landed and how this has benefited her. Welcome to the stage, Kim.
Thank you.
So you were able to move in with Kristopher, and you guys kind of bought this home together. Kind of let us know the process and how you guys felt throughout the process, including the setback and how you kind of came back from that.
Well, the process was pretty easy because we had Ella with Nevada Partners leading us the way and telling us everything we needed to do. So we just made sure we had our credit score right, kept on saving money, and just kept on looking for the house that we wanted. The main setback was, like you said, the pandemic. When the pandemic came and he got laid off, we wasn't sure if it's going to work out, but it did. It worked out for the best.
That's excellent. It's really important for people to know that sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And you mentioned Ella with Nevada Partners and her counseling you as a housing counselor through the process. Do you think that that made a big difference as opposed to going at it on your own?
Oh yeah, it makes all the difference in the world to have a counselor. She'll tell you step by step what you need to do. Make sure you have your paperwork, all your tax credit form. You need that for at least 2 years. Make sure you keep your bank statements, your paycheck stubs. So she helped us every day just about making sure we had everything ready.
That's excellent. It really helps to have someone on your side that his job is literally there to hold your hand and walk you through the process of homeownership. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Kim, for sharing with us. I hope that you are a benefit to so many people here listening, really to hear Kim and Kristopher's story. 10 years they were renting, right? A 5-year journey the two of them went on with some roadblocks and everything, yet homeownership was their plan. They stuck with it and they got it. So that is an amazing, amazing testimony for all of us. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have the great pleasure of sharing my own success story. So I know that I have mentioned that I am a real estate professional for quite a while, and I hold all sorts of hats. But one of the most important hats that I hold is a mother. And in 2017, one of the most important hats I held was a newly single, recently divorced single mother of 3 children, working a commission-only career. And so I found myself in a situation where after the divorce, I had to move into a rental home. First time, I bought my first home when I was 21. This was the first time for me to not live into a home that I actually owned in my adult life. I lived in that home for about 1.5 years, and I got a notice in the mail from my landlord letting me know I had 30 days to move because he was going to put the house on the market. I'm sure that you can even imagine I was going out of my mind because I was not planning to have to go through all that. Right. So I want to play a video for you guys so that you can kind of hear some of the journey and so that you can also understand the testimony and how it can be an option for you as well.
The best way to build wealth is by owning a home, but there's a problem. I have to be a part of this I have to help people realize the importance of being stable, having their kids have stability in their lives. Not everybody's going to become a professional football player.
I found myself divorced after 16 years. I had 3 small kids. I did not get the home in divorce. So I literally had to figure out what to do in a matter of months.
Growing up in Tampa, Florida, Mom and Dad were able to, provide for us to live in a 3-bedroom apartment. Mom worked 3 jobs, Dad worked 3 jobs. But after a few years, we were evicted from this apartment. This eviction was a shock to all of us because we didn't know what our next move was.
So I spoke to my friend Lisa, and she really just calmed me down first. And then she's like, look, we know there's resources out there. I started looking at houses. I got approved, which I just knew had to be a mistake, right? But it wasn't. And I closed, and I was just like, wait a minute, girl. I just bought a house. And now, a year and a half later, I have over $40,000 worth of equity in this house. Now I can pass that on to my kids. We can take that and buy a bigger house. We can do whatever we want because now we have the ability to do that.
I was shocked how many families were in a similar situation as we were. And I was motivated when I heard Shantae's story. When the kids have stability in one aspect of their lives, they're allowed to focus to become something greater and not just fall behind.
We invite you to attend our Make Homes Possible event. This free virtual masterclass will help you like it helped me. You can access up to $25,000 in down payment assistance and free coaching from experts that want to help you buy a home. To learn more, go to makehomespossible.org.
Home is everything. Home ownership is possible. Let's close the home ownership gap in Las Vegas. Let's get you into a home.
Thank you so much for that. So that's just a little tidbit of my story, of my testimonial. So I really hope that with what you have heard, our case studies, and all the different examples of everyone in a different journey at a different part of their life, but all here for the same purpose. And that is to get home, right? To your own home, to homeownership, to generational wealth, to stability for you, for your kids, for your family. So I am going to pass this back on to our MC, or to Kathy Freeman, also a housing counselor, so that she can go through the process of how to get you home. Thank you so much.
Let's start this over again. So thank you, Shantae. I love watching that video. It is great to hear that story. And that story from Shantae is representation of a lot of families and what a lot of families go through in the Las Vegas market. I've been in the mortgage industry. I've been in the mortgage industry for about 22 years now, and I'm born and raised Las Vegas. So I have seen home prices rise and dip and then rise again, with affordable housing and it being such a huge problem in our area. Housing is the staple that allows everybody to focus on everything else that is going on in their lives, whether it's a medical problem, whether it is family, or just stability. My agency is celebrating our 30th year in the Las Vegas market, and I am proud to say that our goal is to just help people become homeowners. So with that, we'll get it started with my portion of the presentation. We're going to review the homebuyer checklist and go through the steps kind of A to Z on how we can help guide you to having the dream of homeownership. So we're going to go first with how do you get pre-approved for a loan? You need to first work with a certified lender, and you can find those at homeispossiblenv.org. There is a list of lenders that we work with for all of the housing counseling agencies and all the programs that are available to you in the city. We suggest that you work with a homeowner that specializes in first-time home buyers and down payment assistance, so that they understand the nuances on pairing the two together. AmeriFirst Financial was the lender for a lot of the people you heard today, and is one of our great partners in the Make Home Possible Coalition. But getting pre-qualified isn't enough. There is also a difference between getting pre-qualified versus getting pre-approved. Pre-qualified basically means you've talked to somebody, they said, based off everything you told me, yes, you should be able to get a loan. It doesn't really hold a lot of water when you're actually out shopping for homes, and a lot of realtors won't take a pre-qualification. You need to actually get pre-approved with a lender that you are comfortable with. And once you have that actual pre-approval, an underwriter has actually looked at it and said, yes, we will lend to you, versus a pre-qualification where you may be able to get a loan based off what you've told us. The pre-approval is stronger when it comes to actually looking for a home. So then next, when you actually get pre-approved, you're going to talk to your mortgage lender, and you're going to discuss with them how much you qualify for. When I put my housing counseling hat on, I tell people, don't go in and say, how much can I afford? You really need to take a good look at what your lifestyle is, and then you tell your lender what it is you're comfortable with, and help them structure a loan that is going to be comfortable for down payment, for your down payment. It's going to be the loan to value ratio is something that everybody is comfortable with for the lender to lend to you, and for you to actually be able to afford that home. They'll talk to you about your debt to income ratio, which is very important, because based off of your income, your debt to income ratio is going to tell the lenders how big of a risk you are to lend to you, and also how you are going to be able to sustain and maintain that payment. There are two folds to that debt to income ratio. There is your housing cost ratio, which is what your potential mortgage is going to be, versus your overall credit reported debt. Lenders don't look at things like insurance or what you are paying for utilities when it comes to qualifying for a house. Everybody has to be on the same platform. So they'll look at credit reported debt only. And that tells us what's your debt to income ratio, both on the front end, which is your housing, and the back end, which is your overall debt. From there, how you get pre-approved for a home loan with the lenders, you're actually going to provide them your documentation. And what that documentation, the basics of that is you're going to give them 2 years worth of reportable income. And when I say reportable income, I mean that is income that you can actually provide W-2s for. You can have a profit and loss if you're self-employed, or if you're an Uber driver, or something like that, how you document that income to your lender. They're going to look at your debt and make sure that that's under control, that it's paid on time, and that it doesn't exceed the median debt to back end ratio of about 43%. And that, again, is your potential housing payment plus all of your credit reported debt should not be more than 43% of your gross monthly income before any debts or any taxes are taken out. So they're looking at that. Then they go on to move to credit. So the credit is a minimum of 640 is probably the benchmark for what most lenders are looking for. That credit scored based off of program could be higher or lower, but that's generally what they're looking for. When you're looking at down payment assistance being brought into that, most down payment assistance don't look at FICO scores. They leave that up to your lending partners to determine, and then see if you are a good fit. But that is the benchmark for you to get the most competitive interest rates based off of the loan type that you are trying to obtain. Then from there, what you really want to do is before you do anything is get your own credit report. You can go to annualcreditreport.com. You can go to any of three of the major bureaus and get those, but you're going to look at those individually. And the annualcreditreport.com is going to give you your tri-merged snapshot. It's not the one that the lenders use, but it is going to give you at least a good basis. They're going to need basic information from you: name, social, address for the last couple of years, telephone number, and a birth date to verify you are who you are. From there, we suggest that you take a look at it, see what's going on. And I love this slide because you get a chance to fix it. Credit is the easiest thing to tear down, but sometimes it can be time consuming to build it up, but that time goes fast. So you saw us before say it takes about 12 to 18 months to boost your FICO score about 150 to 200 points. In that 12 months that you're fixing it, you're going to want to look at your credit report very carefully, make sure everything is accurate and that is reported correctly. You're going to want to verify all of your credit limits and your balances and try and make sure that you're taking care of accounts that should be closed and removed from your report. And then just remember that your credit report is going to list every company you've borrowed from in the last 7 to 10 years. And then from there, that credit report is you're going to be able to basically look at that 7 to 10 years and then go from there. I'm sorry, I put myself back on mute. So how do you build credit? How do you go from that 500 to a 640 to a 670 credit score? You need the most important thing is to pay your bills on time. And when I say on time, it is usually before the actual due date or by the due date. Credit reporting agencies usually have a grace period of about 5 to 10 days before you start getting late fees. And then from there, they start reporting to your credit once you are more than 30 days late. Once you're more than 30 days late, it's actually going to show on your actual credit report. And how do you manage that? You want to set up text alerts for payment dates. You want to be able to give yourself reminders to make sure that you're paying the credit bureaus on time. You can also go in and change your due dates. If your due dates don't match up with your pay scale or how you are actually going in and paying your bills, request for those dates to be moved. Most lenders will adhere to your request as long as you discuss it with them. And then make sure that you're paying the maximum payment that you can pay to make sure that you're bringing that debt down and not just your minimum payment. If you're just making your minimum payment, studies have showed that on $1,000 debt, making that minimum of about $20 to $25 payment, it will take you 5 to 7 years to actually pay off that debt. So if you are using your credit responsibly and you're charging on your cards, you want to make sure that you're paying more than the actual minimum due to bring that debt down as far as possible, because that is what's called your debt ratio. So how your balance is versus your limit can also affect your credit score. The lower you bring that, the better it is going to be for your FICO score. When you keep those debts at no more than 10% of your net income, that also helps you pay down that debt. So there's twofold to that. So that's a general rule is 10% of your net income in debts. But when you actually have that debt, you want that debt to be no more than 30% of the balance. So if you have a $300 credit card, you don't want your balance to be more than $100. You want it to be under 30% utilization, because then that also boosts your credit score to the maximum, and it should. And then for cash purchases, don't use your credit card for that. We do a lot of budget counseling, and some of the most frustrating thing that we see is, when people are using their credit cards for everyday purchases and then they're paying interest on that. I can say that in my own journey, my husband, when he got his first credit card, he would go to lunch and he would go to Jack in the Box, or he would go to a restaurant and have lunch. Totally fine. But understand that when you don't pay that balance off, you're paying interest on it. So he was actually paying them interest on the food that he was going to purchase. And imagine, explaining to someone that $15 that you spent on Jack in the Box has now cost you $18 to pay back because you didn't pay that credit off in time. Or anything that really is under about $20, try and pay that in cash so that you're not messing with your credit utilization. Good rule of thumb. So when you're looking at your credit report, and there may be some things that are inaccurate, there are rules and agencies in place to help you with that. The CFPB has put together some really accurate information on what are your rights when it comes to credit. You have the right to have an accurate report, that you have the right to have all mistakes corrected, and to see what's on your report and tell your side of the story, and to know who's actually seen your credit report. So those are the rights you have as a consumer. So from there, what happens if there is something that is inaccurate? From there, you need to file a dispute. There are certain form letters that each one of the credit bureaus have, and the credit bureaus are Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. So they all have their own form, and if you're doing anything online, you can download those forms and fill them out and send them back to the bureau for them to research anything that you feel is inaccurate, outdated, or incorrect. The Bureau, under federal law, must respond within 30 to 45 days of you filing that dispute. And that is law. After hearing from the Bureau and you disagree with the response, then you have to, you may be able to go up to 100-word statement and say, this is my explanation of why this is still on my credit report, or maybe you had some disputes with something and it's still inaccurate and you're still working towards a dispute. That 100-word statement is very powerful to lenders to understand what happened, because just a credit report itself does not tell the whole story. And when you're telling the whole story, you may have to explain some blemishes on your credit report. And that 100-word statement is very powerful to lenders to be able to tell them why you are a good risk. And that's really what they're assessing. So how do you find? So we're going to move on to how do you find and buy a home? What do you do? So the next is working with an agent. And I am a huge proponent of working with a real estate agent. I tell people in my homebuyer education classes is that your real estate agent and your lender work for you. So we've seen it where, and I'm just going to say this, everybody knows a real estate agent. Everybody knows a real estate agent, your brother, your cousin, your coworker. Everybody's a real estate agent and has at one point, maybe even thought about getting into the real estate game. When you're looking at somebody that really works for you, if they can only show you houses on Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 6, but you work from 11 to 7, that may not be the realtor for you. You can choose to move on. There are certain rules to that. There are certain due diligences and things like that that are contractual between you and your real estate agent. But when you're actually looking for them, we suggest that you interview them. Interview your realtor and your lender and say, are you a good fit for me? What are you going to do? You have to make sure that you understand that you don't pay your real estate agent upfront. All of that is taken care of at the closing table. Okay, so you don't give them anything up front. Make sure that you work with a real estate agent that has access to the MLS system, which is the multiple listing service. It is the granddaddy of the accumulation of what is on the market today. And that's probably the easiest way to explain it. Make sure that you're working with a real estate agent that knows the market, and that can actually guide you through the process. You normally will talk to a real estate agent typically first, and then they're going to refer you to lenders, and it could work vice versa. But you want to make sure that you are comfortable with what that person is bringing to the table to help you navigate the obstacles of becoming a homeowner and really be your partner in that. So from there, when you find that real estate agent that works for you, then you've been pre-approved from your lender, and you have that pre-approval in hand to give to your lender, then you can go out looking for homes. Most realtors will tell you, until you have those steps done, that they don't really take you out looking for homes. And that can be, pretty daunting to hear, but necessary, because in this market, you have to make sure that you have the best team available and that you have your best foot forward. So when you're searching for homes, and you're starting the home search process, look online. The online game has really changed, especially from COVID, where most realtors, you get in your car, you go and look at these homes, they send you a list, and your list is, you pick all these homes and then you go look at them. A lot of them have really embraced technology, and looking at 3D tours and online videos has made wonderful strides in even just the last 2 years. Then you really get a sense of what that home is like. I counsel people to say, make sure that you're writing down your needs versus your wants. Very important. You need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that is within walking distance to the closest school, but you want a 3-car garage and granite countertops. What are your needs versus your wants when you're looking at a home? And you relay that to your realtor when they're putting in the information to search for those homes and send them to you. And then once you've looked at them, request a home tour from your agent and actually really go look at the properties that you are interested in. So you can search tours with our sponsor, Homey. They embrace technology. They make it really easy for everybody to actually search for a home. You can favorite your homes. You can create and save searches. You get notified when new homes that match your criteria are on the market. And the best thing is you can get up to 50% of your closing fees back at closing. You can create a free account and just go to homey.com/buyer to start the search, and then download the app on either your Android or your Apple device. And I can tell you from first world experience, searching those homes on your smartphone and being able to just at 10 o'clock at night start listing and looking at those homes is a game changer. So embrace technology when you are looking for your home search. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you make an offer. So now you've selected everybody, you've looked at all your a bazillion homes, and you found the one that really fits your need. What do you do next? So now it's time to actually make the offer. So your agent will help you make the official offer, or what we like to call in the industry, your bid. You'll determine the property, what you're going to offer them. You'll look at properties and find out what your earnest money deposit is, or what we call an EMD in the industry. You will have already talked to your lender about how much your down payment, what your loan is going to be structured on, and what your payment is going to be, all of the financing terms, and then how long that pre-approval offer is good, because they are not indefinite. Then you're going to move on to making that offer. Now, we can go. Sorry. So then the Homebuyer rebate, they just want you to know that they want to make it easier for you to afford your home. So when you buy a home with Homey, you get 50% back to you at closing of your closing costs, not the purchase of the home or down payment or any of those hard things. So let's be clear about that. And then you get started with Homey.com. So finally, we're going to wrap up with, you found it, you've made an offer on it, the offer is accepted, yay, you move through your closing process, and now what happens? So your closing process, is the finalization of everything. You're closed, you go to escrow, you get closed with escrow, and now it's time to protect your property and get all of your information together and close escrow, and you have finally navigated the steps for homeownership. So you can get one-on-one help at www.makehomeispossible.org/counseling. All of the counseling agencies that have been on this call, along with all of our partners, you can get all of their information there. We believe that is the best way to start getting one-on-one help is to seek help from a HUD certified housing counseling agency in your area. And for our presentation today, those housing counseling agencies are listed here. We've got our partners with Nevada Partners, NID, and me at NHSSN. So those are your HUD counseling agencies. And again, you can find that information at makehomeispossible.org/counseling. So a special thank you to all of our partners listed here. Special thanks to Homey and their technology and for bringing this presentation to you tonight, as well as all of the partners that have worked really, really hard to bring these presentations to you and just make sure that we have information out to you and that we are your partners in this home search. So thank you very much to everybody who has participated and continues to make sure that we are bringing our goal of 25,000 homeowners to the Southern Nevada area in the next 10 years. So thank you guys. So we'll move on and I will send it back over to Nia, our MC, for a question and answer section. Thank you guys and have a good evening.
Wow, thank you so much. I work with these ladies all the time, but I'm always blown away by how much knowledge and information they have. So that was an excellent presentation, Kathy. I enjoyed the stories from Shanta. And then just, if anything, if we can always say the theme, as I said, our unofficial theme of this is just keep going. I know you are going through things, but just keep going on your journey. It's just a step by step at a time. So we're going to open it up. And if you have any questions, please feel free. Now is the time. While you have these ladies with all of this information and knowledge here, we will open it up for questions before we head out. Oh, you guys, welcome. I speak for all of us at the coalition when I say we are passionate about our goal and our mission to create Black homeowners and encourage homeownership and wealth building. I always say this, but there are two ways to establish wealth in our country. The two sure pathways are through insurance, life insurance, and through equity, real estate, passing down that equity to your families, being able to make those decisions about furthering your education or starting a business, entrepreneurship. It all starts with having that equity in your home, a home that you own. And once you have that equity, you have options and a mortgage. And some of this information may seem daunting, but don't forget that you are always paying a mortgage. We want you to pay your own and not someone else's. So we do have one question. Would you mind going over some of the grant programs available? So one of the one that I can speak of, most confidently is the Home is Possible program that is through the state of Nevada, through the housing division. We offer down payment assistance for all Nevada home buyers who are purchasing a home in Nevada as their primary residence. There's a few qualifications in addition to qualifying for a mortgage and having that pre-approval, like Kathy mentioned. In addition to that, your income would have to be below $105,000 annually. You would have to be purchasing a home that is less than $548,000. You would need a minimum credit score of 640, and you would need to take a homebuyer education course, preferably from a HUD certified counselor. Kathy, if you want to take over and share some other grant information.
Sure. So there are a few programs. I'd like to say that programs, unfortunately, come and go, depending on the funder, depending on a few different factors. Right now in the Valley, one of the biggest programs, aside from the state program, which has been a staple, and I don't know, Nia, I don't think you guys ever run out of money, which is a great thing. So that their program is awesome. There is WISH, which is Workforce Initiatives Subsidy in Housing. That is a 4-to-1 match. Most of the agencies on this call administer those funds in some form or another. Unfortunately, that program, those funds have been exhausted, but they are set to regroup in April of 2022. So they're the WISH funds. And again, the WISH is a 4-to-1 match. For every dollar you bring to the table, we will match times 4. So you have, $5,000, we will give you $20,000 to a maximum of $22,000 on the WISH side. So that, in essence, if you have, let's say, $5,500, you can have $27,500 for your lender to structure a loan for you to purchase a house. And most of those are fully forgivable for most of the program, usually anywhere between 1 and 5 years, depending on the program. And then at the end of that time, that program, that equity is yours to keep. So there's Chenoa program. Most of the lenders that are coming on are developing their own lending portfolio for down payment assistance that, can pay your closing costs. It can pay some of your down payment assistance. There are some 100% financing programs that some lenders are coming out with. So it really is, again, selecting that team and your real estate agent and your lender's agent that are well versed in all of the programs across the board that are available to you. So again, they come and go, but it's really just navigating that with your lender. We've got some more questions.
Talking. Hi, I'm so sorry. Yes, Kathy, we have a question. I think we'll let you handle this. I am on my way to becoming a first-time homeowner. Should I check with multiple lenders, and will checking with multiple lenders affect my credit score? Take it away, Kathy.
So, yes and no. Again, I am a big proponent of interview your team. Don't just talk to one lender or one realtor. Interview a few of them, but do not let all lenders check your credit. Generally, FICO has said that as long as it is a mortgage-related inquiry, you have about a 2-week window that you can actually let a couple of lenders pull your credit without, and it should not affect your FICO score. I take credit and say that credit is actually, people who talk about credit are parrots. They hear what somebody has said to them and then they repeat it to somebody else. That's how the credit game goes. Nobody can explain how credit scores are actually formulated or calculated. It is a secret that died with Fair Isaac, back in 1960. But everybody will tell you, based off their experience, doing this and that and the other should affect your FICO score this way or this way. So we as housing counselors say, narrow it down to about 2 or 3 lenders and make sure you stay in that 10-day to 2-week time frame. If at any point in that time frame you go out and do something else, let's say you let 2 lenders pull your credit on the 5th, you got that 10 to 14-day window, but on the 7th you went out and applied for a car loan, your FICO score is going to get hit. It just is, because you have now deviated from that specific window that they have said that they expect you to go and shop for the mortgage lender that's right for you. But you have to be very specific. You do anything else, it's a wrap.
And we can't say enough, house then car, right? House then car. So don't go out shopping for a car, or don't go out trying to get finance to get new furniture for the new house you're going to get while you're shopping for a home. So thank you very much, Kathy. I don't see any more questions. So I am going to say thank you very much. Once again, all of our information is available. If you want to reach out to anyone from the coalition, some more information on some of the presentations and the stories, we hope that you walk away from this feeling encouraged and uplifted, and just know that it may take a while, but we are still, the market is shaping up in your favor. You have people here ready to hold your hand and walk you through it, and people who not just talk the talk, but actually, have lived it. It's like, I don't know if you guys remember that old commercial for the hair loss. Like, I'm not only the president, I'm a client. So we've all been there. We all have stories to share, and we can totally relate to one of the biggest decisions and purchases that you will make in your life. So we're just ready to help you get there. So thank you very much, ladies. And thank you guys for taking your time this evening to talk.
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt for Shanta.
I appreciate it.
So again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Nia, but thank you guys all. It was a pleasure. And, reach out to us if you have questions. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely. Thank you all.